Okay, hey, and welcome back. My name is Mario Che, and I am bringing to you again the video 2 of our series of what it takes to have it all. And when we say having it all, what are we talking about really? We're talking about having the money and the health and the relationship and the fulfillment in life where you just feel amazing. We came up with a number that we looked at statistically, looking at the people who have it all really, and we came out to 0.26%. That's not a lot of people. So for the rest of us, the 99.74%, what is it going to take for us to have it all? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's going to take in this series that we are embarking on right now. And so let's start off with why your brain fights the life that you want. Why can't you have it all? Why is it so hard for us all to have it all? I mean, think about it. Most of us are smart and we're ambitious and we're willing to do whatever it takes to win, and somehow we're not actually winning inside of all the areas of life that we want to win in. So let's get this clear. I'm going to explain this to you, and it's going to make sense, and you're going to stop making life wrong, and it's also going to give you an access to being able to produce the results that you want to in the areas of life that matter. So no more struggling, no more of the fight. This is a very important topic that we have to cover for you to understand. Why is it that we self-sabotage? Why don't we allow ourselves to have what we want in life? All right, so first off, the brain's purpose. Just to be clear, your big, beautiful, amazing brain was not created. It's also a very old tool, all right? It's a million-year-old tool that has not evolved as fast as society has. And so it was developed to have you survive in much more robust times, all right? So it was not concerned about your happiness or thriving as much as it was around about your survival. So think about it. If there was a rustle in the bushes, back in the times of caveman days, if you will, then it probably wasn't because there was a breeze coming and you want to put your arms out and enjoy it. I did that this morning with my dog. I actually was out walking my dog. I have a golden retriever, and I just put my arms out like this as the breeze came by, and it just felt absolutely amazing to just take that in. Now, in those days, if you took that moment, it could mean your life, because there's probably a saber-toothed tiger or some other predator that wants to eat you alive, right? And so that wouldn't work back then in those robust times. No, I'm here in sunny South Florida with, tons of protection and no predators around me in that sort of thing, right? So the likelihood of something happening to me is very, very low today. However, back then, the likelihood of something happening, that rustling in the bushes, it probably wasn't a breeze coming. It probably was something that wanted to eat you, all right? So our brains prioritize survival over happiness. The reason why you exist today is because your ancestors prioritized survival over happiness. So the brain's primary function is survival, and it's not happiness. It scans for threats constantly, looks for danger, and avoids uncertainty. And this is exactly why you and I wake up in the morning, the first thing we think is something's wrong here. Now, people think that they're depressed, and to a certain degree, they're right about that. They may be dealing with depression on a certain level. They may have a hyperactive survival mechanism. They may be able to survive better than other people. I dealt with depression. A lot of other people have dealt with depression as well. And here's what we want to understand is that we make some of it wrong. And I'm not saying that some people don't have clinical depression, they don't need drugs. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you and I stop making it wrong that we have these bad thoughts, right? We can understand that we were created to survive well. Some of us were built to survive well, and so we automatically look for what's not working. We look for what are the threats around me? What's not working in my life? And we tend to gravitate toward that because we have a survival instinct, and that's our survival instinct, to look for and to scan for threats. That's why some people can't have a relationship work. That's why some people are not ever happy no matter what they have and what they do. It's also why some people, generally speaking, have a low vibration and an experience of life that doesn't work. I'm going to tell you, it's absolutely important for you to surpass that, for you to be able to fulfill what you want to, because high vibration, that ability to be present to what's working in your life, that ability to be present to what you want for life, is absolutely necessary. And here's the reality. Understand this. There's some part of you that is, inside of its prioritizing of safety, it's prioritizing what it already knows. So for you, maybe for all of us, what there's a safety in knowing. It's like the devil you know against the devil you don't, right? We know what it's like to suffer where we're at. What we don't know is what it looks like on the other side to deal with something we've never dealt with before. So what happens after a certain age, we get stuck in the status quo. And so we get our brains are like, okay, we're good here. We can survive here. Whatever this looks like, we can survive. We understand all of the variables. We know how to deal with what shows up. This is fine for us. We can be fine with this. And so for that reason, it doesn't want you to change. It doesn't want you to create anything. The brain doesn't, right? So although we are creative forces, like literally God created us or made us so that we could create in life, here's the reality is that there's a part of us that doesn't want to create. So here's the reality. We either have to choose survival, our survival instinct, we can let it run and that's our default, or we can actually now shift over, we can surpass that and we can transcend that natural instinct and we can begin to create in life, because creation involves uncertainty. By its very nature, creation means that something new is being created, something new is going to exist, and your brain doesn't like new because it's uncertain. The fact that it's new means that we've never been there before. We don't know what it looks like, right? So here's the reality is that for us, just to understand that that's how we are built. This is why some people gravitate and keep on finding themselves back in the same situations over and over again. They get with the same kind of person who's not a good person or not a good type of person, doesn't treat them well, doesn't give them what they want. They keep finding themselves back in the same relationships. Some people keep finding themselves back in the same financial situation over and over again. Some people find themselves, they can't lose the weight. They can't get past it. Why? Because there's some part of them that won't let them get past it. See, because you and I have the power that it takes to accomplish anything that we want to, then why is it that we don't? Well, it's because there's a part of us that is by design and on purpose creating more of this same thing that we've had in our lives because it's safe. It's certain. That certainty is safety. So one of the things that's got to happen is that you and I have to change our perception of what that looks like, and just understanding that, the very nature of human being is that we're constantly scanning for threats. We're constantly avoiding that which is unsafe, and uncertainty, it seems unsafe for most of us. Then that will allow you to get to the next level and have power. So here's what we do. We actually set powerful intentions, which trigger the brain to perceive risk. When we set an intention, like for our lives, when we say, hey, this is what I want for my life, I want it to be new, guess what happens? The brain gets triggered to perceive risk, all right? And so that's why you are dealing with some of the things that you're dealing with, is because, or that stagnation and that stuckness you may be experiencing is because your brain, when you create something new, when you say, hey, look, I want something new. Hey, I want that new house. Hey, I want that new job. Hey, I want a new kind of relationship that doesn't look like anything I've had before. Guess what's happening is that your brain is perceiving it potentially as a risk because you've never had it before. You don't know what it looks like, all right? And so understand that there's a natural contention between these two parts of us, and that's the number one, the part that wants survival, and the other part that really desperately wants to create. Okay, and so you've got to learn how to surpass this, to bypass this, to transcend it, to circumvent it, right? So that you can actually get access to creation in life, right? So I'm going to go through this one quickly, but I hope that lands, because if you're experiencing stuckness, it probably is because some part of you feels unsafe in what you really want for your life. That is the thing that's holding people back in so many different ways. And so we're going to work on being able to move that out of the way. The first thing is to really just understand that that is literally how it works. That's how human beings work. Okay, cool. Awesome. And so, for us, that unsafety, that uncertainty can look like anxiety, it can look like overthinking, it can look like pulling back with withdrawal, it can look like defensiveness. We can see it in relationships and financial areas as well. Especially when you start going for something, you start whispering doubts to yourself. It could show up like that. The brain chooses familiarity over fulfillment, even if familiarity causes pain. Yes. So even though you're uncomfortable, even though it doesn't make sense, no, we're going to survive. Survival is better than the alternative, which is death for the brain. And so it's going to say, oh, certainty, I know what this feels like. I know what this thing is like. I know what this kind of relationship's like. I know what this kind of person's like, right? In my relationships or in my life. I'll go with this one. I know what this toxic, pattern is, and I know how it plays out because I've had it before. So I've survived that. So I'll take that over the alternative because I don't know if I can survive the alternative. Does that make sense? So people recreate the same life patterns to feel safe in the familiarity. Okay. And so that's really important for you and I to get, because that's what's going to give us access to power inside the journey. So resistance is proof that the intention is working. So if you feel that intent, that resistance when you create something, when you create this idea that you want for your life, you're creating something and you feel that resistance, it's normal is what I want to say. It's signaling that you're stepping outside of your old patterns, and you're going to feel that, and just get that it's normal. Just don't make it wrong. Just understand that it's there. And the goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to stop letting fear control your action, right? So if you can just be present to fear, and honestly, there's what we call the 90-second rule. And basically in 90 seconds, if you don't engage with something, with a feeling, an emotion, and you don't engage with the thought that gives that feeling or emotion, it will actually go away. It will pass through the body. Don't resist it. Just let it pass through the body, okay? And then get back to you and focus on your intention. That's the way that you want to do it. So here are the steps to overcoming your brain's resistance to change. So I'm going to give you some steps here, and I've kind of broken them down. We have a much more robust format to going through this inside of my programs, but this is a great way for you to start. So steps to overcome brain resistance. Number one, just understand that it's just the brain trying to keep you safe. That's number one. That's the most important thing, right? And so step one is what we call see. So you got to see the thing that it's actually trying to do. So you can acknowledge and accept that self-judgment, like I'm broken, or something's wrong here, or I'm weak, or people can't be trusted, or whatever else it is. That self-sabotaging thought that's in the background, just simply be aware of it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just be aware of it, and it's going to give you an access. Okay, so just being aware of what's showing up is massively powerful and actually lets you out of the matrix. It frees you to now be and to have a shift in being, a shift in your actions, a shift in your results for life. So just get present to what that thing is that shows up in that area of life, and that changes the game. All right, that's the beginning of it. Case in point, Carl Jung said, until we take the unconscious and make it conscious, it will rule our lives, and we will call it fate. And so what happens to a lot of people is these self-judgments, these ideas are running in the background of their lives. They're not present to them. And so they stay subconscious, they stay unconscious. And so they're never conscious, so that we could actually manipulate them, we could control them, we could actually surpass them. Does that make sense? So by you understanding and getting the thing that's running in the background in that area of life, for me in the area of relationships, it's that, women can't be trusted. The women I love can't be trusted. That's what it is, right? And so that's a big deal, and that would definitely destroy my life if I wasn't aware of it. And I've had it since I was a child. Another one would be for me that would have stopped me from being able to make the difference that I've gotten to make for so many people, and also for myself and my family, was I had a conversation. He who gives money dominates he who receives it. So the person who gives any amount of money dominates the person who receives it. So I found out that throughout my entire life, I was trying to be safe by not taking money from people, and I didn't know it. Even though I worked really hard at school and knew I didn't want to be broke anymore, and knew that I wanted things to look differently for myself, even though, I became a trader and a lawyer and I did all these things, none of these things was going to get me what I wanted, because I was going to find a way to sabotage them because I couldn't take money from people. So I had to find a workaround. And then finally, when I could see it, it changed everything. So your job is going to be to see it. 8 figures later, we're in a different conversation. All right, so that's C. And then the next thing is choose. Consciously decide to focus on new outcomes that you want. So the choosing is actually you choosing to now shift from survival to creation. And now we're going to now look at it and say, okay, what I really want is I want a loving, nurturing, lifelong partnership with my wife, instead of women that I love lie, cheat, and betray. So what's the point? Now it's this other thing now that I get to live into, which is a loving, nurturing, lifelong partnership. And so I got to create that for the first time in my life, and it was never going to happen. I was going to go this entire life and I was never going to have that. So so this is a really powerful demonstration of that. So you get to consciously choose a new outcome and focus on that outcome, right? That's all it is. This shifts the power. So I'm inviting you to consider that that's what's going to make the difference. And then lastly, just take one aligned action. Always take an aligned action. You got to move. You got to do something. If you're not doing something, you aren't doing jack crap. You're not moving your life. You got more information. You know how many books I had? How many books I bought back when there was Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that? I'm dating myself, but I used to pick up books all the time. I still do. Audio books and on Audible and all that stuff. I've done all of that. I have tons of books in my collection, and some of them got read, some of them didn't. The ones that got read, some of them didn't make a difference. You know why? Because I never put them to use. So the actual action taking is what moves life. It's the rubber that hits the road, right? It's where the rubber meets the road. It's the thing that matters the most. And until you and I actually do the thing that needs to be done, we start taking actions, we're not going to solidify and concretize that result, that reality in our lives. So after you have created, so now you've seen what doesn't work, you've chosen something new, then there's the doing, and the doing looks like, sending that message to your partner, or even reaching across and holding their hand, or it could look like having a conversation that you didn't want to, or making a request for something that you really wanted, that job, or for that raise, or whatever it may be, or for that second chance with your partner, or whatever it is. So whatever it is, that doing is going to actually give you access to a life that you love. That is retraining your nervous system, and it is giving you access to a life that you love. Okay, and so that's how we overcome the brain in that way. We kind of talked about that before. And so lastly, guys, this is what I want to say. How do we strengthen the pattern? Let's talk about that. Is that action taking is with alignment with the intention, weakens the old program, strengthens the new ones. We create new neural pathways that give us access to a life that works. The brain's not the enemy. New instructions come from gentle, consistent, purposeful, aligned action. So the brain's not the enemy. It's simply a tool. It is simply machinery, right? And so what happens is you and I get good at utilizing that machinery so that we can actually have it do what we want it to do. So what I mean by that, when I say the brain, I'm talking about the subconscious mind, really, right? And what happens is, that's really beyond the brain, right? And so you want to understand that what happens is it will move us away from the things that it believes is going to hurt us because it wants us to survive. So it's a machine. When it's operating, the subconscious mind is a machine that's actually moving us through life. This is why with the 1% of conscious thought that we have, we get to program ourselves. We get to program safety. We get to program our intentions into our lives. And programming that intention is safe is what it really wants to do, so we can gravitate toward it, so that machinery is actually bringing us toward it instead of away from it. All right, and so that's what I want to say about that. Understand the brain's not bad. It really isn't. It's not that at all. It simply is that it needs to be reprogrammed, and we can rewire it with daily actions that you and I can take. And that's what happens when we do that. Our aligned actions make the life that you want familiar. So we keep on bringing this idea over and over again. Man, I hope that you guys get this last part, is that when you and I keep having this idea, this vision for our lives over and over again, and we have it be present over and over again, what we're doing is that we're making that life that we want familiar. We're making it safe, because now it's no longer an uncertainty. It's now becoming a certainty for us. So I hope that helps. I hope that made a difference for you. Certainly was a great refresher for me. I enjoyed it, certainly, and I'm hoping that you did as well. Stay tuned. There's going to be more, and it's going to be a lot more power-packed stuff for you. So just understand this. This is one of the things that you and I get to master, to be able to have it all in life, and that is to be able to now understand that the brain gravitates toward threats, scanning for threats, protecting us, and now we've got to make whatever it is that we want, that having it all, that love and that money and that, the abundance, that health, that fulfillment, we've got to make that now certain and familiar to us. All right, with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. I hope that made a difference. Leave comments below. If if that helped you at all. And of course, I have a course that you can join. Love you to be one of our GOATs, our greatest of all times members. If you're interested about that, company's called Goats Win, GOATS Win, because that's what goats do, the greatest of all times win. That's just what we do by nature. And so seeing you in the next video, and click that subscribe button if you like content like this, if this actually made you think about something.